Just like this. There's no clicker here. Except so next slide.
All right, thank you. And thanks all for making our time. I know everybody is exhausted, so I'm going to keep this really, really quick. And to our Huawei friends also, thanks for sitting in. I think we're all doing really great here. And I think for the sake of those who are in the room and those who are online, we need to do justice beyond what has been said on the stages, the different topics that we've been asked to look at. Very quickly, I'm going to be speaking about how we do transformation around customer engagement with AI. This is not something that may be new to a lot of us in this room and those online, but we will be providing a bit of some new perspectives on how organizations across the globe are rethinking how they deliver differentiated customer experiences to their customers, regardless of the industry segments or the demographics that they support. Can you move to the next slide, please? The next two slides. So, a few things to pay attention to is that because we are in a world that has become hyper-digitized, customer experience expectations have increased over the globe. The easiest way for you to define customer experience is the aggregated set of outcomes a customer stands to benefit due to an interaction with an entity. The entity can be your bank, the entity can be a restaurant, the entity can be a hotel, the entity can be an airline. What you will find common across all these groups is that these groups of industry players support large numbers of customers at the same time, cannot afford to hire so many frontline workers to support these customers, and have to rely more and more on digital technology to support how they deliver customer experiences. Now, because of the fact that everybody now has a smartphone, even in the most remote areas of the globe, there is no excuse for an organization or for a business not to pay attention to how customers perceive their services, whether it is when they walk into an office, when they walk into your branch, or when they access your mobile app or your internet platform. It's the same way you feel when you walk into a McDonald's, or if I use locally, you walk into a Tantalizers, or any of the local restaurant chains. If you don't get service within a timely fashion, you're going to get irritated. Because you're in a restaurant, you are hungry. If you walk into a hotel, you expect that within the first 10 minutes, you can quickly handle your payments and they can check you in, because you likely want to go and sleep quickly. You don't want to be standing on the queue for a long time. If you walk to a petrol station, you want to quickly get your fuel and go. You don't want to be staying around there, which means the speed to service is expected. And it is no different for banking services or for any other digital service anybody can be using, whether you provide, like any of the fintechs that's presented today, a payment service, a transportation service. or any other kind of service. If you move to the next slide. Now, what we are seeing is that organizations that spend a lot of time thinking about how they deliver customer experience and customer engagement, what they quickly see is that it is reflected in their bottom line. You will notice that service organizations like banks, service organizations like hotels, service organizations like airlines, whose job involves dealing with people face to face all the time, they spend a lot of time training their staff around attitude. They spend a lot of time training their staff around ethics, around courage, around appearance. It's because they know that those people in the front line are where business can be lost. The customer may not give you the opportunity to call them for a follow-up. If I have a bad experience with MTN at a experience center tomorrow, I'm unlikely going to pick their phone call when they're trying to market any of their products, their MiFi products to me. In the same way, even I, as a Microsoft staff, if I do not give a good perception of myself, if you're going to run a business, it is unlikely you tell your staff to use Microsoft technology. Why? Because my behavior towards you might be representative of the quality of service Microsoft as an organization might give to you. And so organizations know that if they don't fix it quickly, they are likely going to lose business on the long run. The fintechs, the startups have done a great job in simplifying experiences. They do not overcomplicate you with too much words, too much branding. They just make sure you are able to get your service quickly and seamlessly. Because they know that the faster you can leave their system, the likelihood that you will come back for repeat engagement. I had an experience last month when I traveled to Accra. I was trying to check into my hotel, and I brought the wrong card, and I was not able to check in. And so I wanted to quickly activate an Amex card, American Express card, credit card to use to check into my room. And the card had not been activated. I called the Amex contact center, and what picked up the phone call, on the other hand, was a robo-advisory service. I wasn't talking to a person, it was an AI service. The AI service quickly got my account number. It quickly did the required biometric checks on the phone with me and activated my card. I completed this process in about 8 minutes. Now, ask yourself, if I am going to any other country in the world, and I need a card for international business travel, which card am I likely going to use? I'll use an Amex card. I may not use my Nigerian card. I'll use an Amex card because I don't know the brand. I don't know them. I've never been to an Amex facility before, but I have had quick service. I've had a very good experience with them. And that is the purpose of this discussion we're having. The reason why AI comes into the picture is because AI can simplify and speed up the service experiences without depending on the wear and tear that comes with human interactions. Can I go to the next slide, please? And so, as Microsoft, and in the way we have shaped our vision, being able to deliver differentiated customer experiences is a central pillar of how we deliver value to organizations who use our technology. It's the same way that an organization can decide that they want to also focus on being able to modernize payments and core banking. They want to be able to ensure that they enforce risk and prevent fraud. We have customer experience as a pillar because we know that if our customers who use our technology are successful in giving good experiences to their customer, the likelihood that they will continue to use our technology is high. More importantly, is the fact that generative AI, machine learning, predictive analytics has changed the way customers expect to interact with us. Because everything is digital now, customers expect that we know more about them. They expect that regardless of what is happening in your business, within 5 minutes, they can get service. And at least 80% of any service they need to do with you can be done digitally. If you move to the next slide. And so, one of the things we did was that we built a technology. It's not new. Most people here have heard the term CRM, Customer Relationship Management. It is a set of tools and technologies for managing relationships with business partners, customers across sales, marketing, and customer service, regardless of the engagement channel. The purpose of customer relationship management is to build the strongest possible relationships at an organizational level. CRM is a business practice, it's not a technology, right? It's a practice that all organizations in the world that service people, even public sector organizations, what they do. What we've done over the years is that we have built CRM technologies to handle this. Now, with the advent of AI, we've had to reimagine all our products. We've had to imagine if tomorrow I'm going to call a contact center, will I prefer to spend 10 minutes or 8 minutes on the phone waiting to speak to an agent, or will I prefer an AI service to interact with me? If I open the browser and I type the website of the organization, and I see a chatbot or a chat interface and I want to chat with an agent, am I patient enough to wait, knowing that there are a lot of options? If this person is not responding to me on time, I can go to another provider, I can go to another hotel, I can go to another bank, I can go to another provider of a restaurant service, a delivery service, anyway. If you are trying to, there's nobody here, if you are trying to order something on Jumia, and in a few minutes you can't access the app, you are likely going to go to Konga. If you cannot access on Konga, you will likely go to AliExpress. I know because I've done the same thing before. And so the role of AI became central to how we deliver the experiences across the journey, so that regardless of the touch points a customer is interacting with you on, whether they are chatting on WhatsApp, whether they are on a mobile platform, whether they're on the internet platform, whether they're walking through your office, they get the same level of experience. To do that, we have to use AI to understand these people, look at the history of their transactions, look at the history of complaints they've made, look at the data we have about them. Who is this person's wife? Who are his children? How many times does he pay school fees? When does he receive his salary? What kind of loan services has he collected over the last 5 years? To understand this person, to know where this person is, what hotels does he stay, where does he travel to every year? Does he travel to Europe in the beginning of the year and then travel somewhere in the Asian Pacific area at the other half of the year? Where does he work? Where does his family work? Where does his children school? All these are signals that allow us to understand our customers so we know what to use to serve them. And what we've done is that we've built the technology such that regardless of if you are interacting with a customer from a marketing point of view, in terms of how they market and advertise to you, or you are interacting with a customer from their contact center, their service, their branch, their front office point of view, or you're speaking with a salesperson, they demonstrate the same level of understanding. And in the event that you cannot actually speak to a person, the AI service can deliver that same quality of service across board. If you move to the next slide, please. And so, again, I want to keep this discussion simple. And I don't think I'm going to go beyond this slide. Our customer engagement practice in Microsoft has been built around 4 personas. The core delivery functions, where you see marketing, sales, and service, are the pillars of what you would call traditional CRM. Let's use a bank. Let's use Zenith Bank, our host, as an example. Who does customer service for Zenith Bank? They have their contact center, correct? Where they will hire anything between 1,000 to 2,000 agents to support Zenith customers across the globe. You call a number, and then based on the number of qualifying questions, they try and support you. Who does sales for Zenith today? They are account managers, they are relationship managers. They are the ones that will bring a form to you and say, open a Zenith account. They are the ones that will say, open a Ziva wallet profile. They are the ones that will say, download our mobile app, correct? They are all selling the Zenith product. They are selling Zenith services. They are trying to convince you to use Zenith cards. They are trying to convince you to use Zenith payment platforms. They are trying to convince you to use Zenith loan services for your business, whether you are an SME, you are an individual, or you are a corporate organization. And then finally, who does marketing for Zenith? It's a lot. They have a lot of people who do marketing for them. They have their internal corporate communications function that typically does events like this. Everything you are seeing here is a corporate communications function, right? It is important for them that these three sets of people have the right tools to know how to better support their customers. So if you come back to contact center, and let's start from there. What should a contact center person do? A contact center, one of the things that irritates you when you call a contact center is what? When you've spoken to one person, you made a complaint, let's say your number, the phone call dropped. They take you to another person, the person is asking you another set of questions again. And God help you, maybe your credit finishes. It's an irritating experience, right? But imagine if those people had the same information. Imagine if somebody could say, oh, your line dropped, you said this, you said this, you said this, you said this. That alone changes your perception. Now imagine it, because we are a lot in Nigeria. How many are we in Nigeria? We are 250 million people in Nigeria. Let's even assume a small fraction of those people are Zenith Bank customers and have to call for an issue. How many possible agents can pick all those millions of calls? It's not possible for 1,000 people to pick, which means some people have to wait, right? Would it not make sense if you have a cognitive service, an AI service, that is built with the ability to transcribe all our languages, to immediately start interacting with these people? So instead of waiting, to ask the question, how can I help you? I am not able to use my card. A transaction failed. What is your account number? What is your NIN? The things that at least 60% of the things a customer service person will do, a bot can do. Let's move to relationship managers. Let's assume I've had very good service from customer support. I've decided that, okay, I want to get a mortgage from Zenith Bank, right? To get a mortgage, you need to speak with an account officer. They need to profile you to know the kind of loan they can give you and the amount of loan they can give you. And to be sure you won't run away with their money. Maybe you want to jack out to Canada or something. And so what do? This person needs to know, first of all, that you've had your account with us for a long time, which means you are likely a loyal customer. One of the things that used to irritate me in the past with one of the banks I had used before now was that I had used this bank since I was an NYSC student. You know how many years I did NYSC. And yet, my interaction with the staff clearly shows they don't know who I am, even if that's the salary account. And so if I'm talking to an account manager, the person needs to come with information. There should be advisory tools. These are digital agents that can quickly tell this person, this is who he is, this is his pattern of behavior, this is his pattern of spending. These are the specific products that are relevant to him. You can also recommend he gets a loyalty card because he has banked with you for 14 years. If I'm walking to an account manager, and instead of me telling this person about myself, the person is telling me about myself and advising me, it changes again my perception, right? Let's move to the third person, the guys who do marketing and brand communication. When you open your email, and I'm sure a lot of us have done this, you will create a rule in your email where any communication that is coming from your bank just moves to a folder because you get so many of them. Why? Because they are not tailored to you. Today, you are being marketed on a car product. Tomorrow, you are being marketed on an education product. An intelligent system, a customer engagement system that is truly intelligent, is one where it can tailor communication based on where you are in your life journey. This is what it means. A good system that is AI enabled knows when I finished university and started my NYS, Why? Because my income will show, right? The kind of transactions I'm doing will show. They will be able to tell I'm doing my NYSC. When I get my first proper job, my income level will change, correct? My priority is to change. So let's assume when I was NYSC, I was still living under my parents' house. I'll be thinking of maybe getting a 2-bedroom flat. Right? Let's say I get a bank job and I'm comfortable enough to get a prevailing economic situation. Then, let's say you are being promoted and you are getting a bit senior. You'll be thinking of buying your first car. That's what you'll be thinking, right? And you may be thinking of, okay, maybe I should do a master's degree or an MBA. What does that mean? If I needed money in terms of financing a car, that is the moment where a bank should be communicating a car or an auto loan. They should be knowing that I'm at a point in my life where I may be thinking of getting a second degree. Second degrees are expensive if you are doing it outside of the country. If you are going to, let's not even talk about the tier 1 universities where you'll be spending almost 100,000 euros. You use IA business, for example. Let's even say the mid-level universities, you'll be spending about $30,000 or £30,000 a UK university. Which means you can't pay out of pocket because I don't know how many people in Nigeria today in the income level I'm describing that can afford it. An intelligent bank will be already providing and proposing education loans and education financing. Now, when you are getting to your early 30s as a man, you are getting a bit more comfortable and you're saying, okay, you like I want to marry. And as you want to marry, that 2-bedroom is not going to work anymore. So you want to get a 3-bedroom or you want to get a 4-bedroom duplex, something that can accommodate a family. So you'll be thinking of one of two things. You may be thinking of rental support, or you may be thinking of buying your own house and have a long-term mortgage financing. And then when your children start coming, you need school fees support. That is a life journey. And an intelligent customer engagement system will be able to do that because it is built in the generative AI that can study the data. It can look at the changes in information. It can send updates to the mobile banking app, the internet banking app, to confirm where you are in your life. Are you currently working? Are you in school? Are you about to? It will guess that based on your age, based on your transaction patterns, is likely the life event that is happening to you. You are spending a lot of money in cinema. It means that you are probably taking babes out. And if you are taking babes out, you are probably at the point where you are evaluating your marital options. And that is the creative use of AI in marketing. What matters most is the person on the extreme. Who is who? The customer. Because systems that are built to solve organizational problems that don't put the customer at the heart of the solution are always doomed to fail. You will notice that the organizations, the providers, the services you like to work with are not those who are the biggest. They are not those who are necessarily the most popular. They are not even those who may have the most sophisticated technology. They are those who make you feel special. They are those who make you feel that they are listening to you. Are we all following? I'll give you another example. The dry cleaner I use is not necessarily my favorite. There are better people that can do the service for me. Money will not be an issue. I still use that same small company. You know why? If I don't call them in 2 weeks, they will start to blame me. Because they know my pattern of how I do my laundry. They know how different types of clothes should be treated. That's an SME, right? There's small business run by women, small who are just trying to make their way in this Lagos. But because of how they make me feel, that attention, I'm less critical of faults, and instead, I look at myself as a partner to their business to advise them on maybe things you can do better. It's the same sentiment you feel.
Don't pack all these things today.
Driver before Uber came market for everybody. If you remember, you always have that favorite driver you call if you need to make some sensitive types of road trips. Remember, call that person.
I don't do this. I do this thing at
See
home.
what you do.
They don't pay me that I didn't package my second and money. Like what? Because of the what we booked today, that's what I'm taking.
I'm not calling my own driver.
I
have a driver call. He comes all the way from Yamagata. But I have grown so fond of this person that in my head, anytime
I don't take it. I don't even buy.
It's not my own driver that I pay salary that comes to my mind. It's this person. Even though I'm paying more for that one-time service, I'll rather use him and keep that business. Because tomorrow I can call him and say, I need you to go and pick somebody from me in the airport. I need you to do, that is loyalty. And that is because these individuals, small businesses, have mastered the art of treating each person, especially. Unfortunately, the problem with large organizations is that as they grow big, they become arrogant.
I thought you wanted to come and show me how to do it.
They become product-centric and they think about sophisticated products. As big as Uber is, we love Uber. You know why? Depending on any country you travel to, Uber tailors the experience for you. If you don't immediately it makes the Uber Eats options available to you. It knows the kind of food I'm liking. I don't like a lot of foreign foods. The only foods that I know my tongue can accept are Chinese because they are similar to how we cook our food. Because I have ordered those kind of dishes before, even though I'm not in Saudi Arabia, I'm in the US tomorrow, it makes those recommendations for me. They are not just blasting all sorts of information pieces at me. At Microsoft, we entered a strategic partnership with OpenAI. OpenAI is the popular company that builds ChatGPT. Microsoft is not new to artificial intelligence. We've been in the artificial intelligence market for at least 20 to 25 years now. Today, we run machine learning models for organizations that compute credit risk banks. We build information systems that help health insurance providers identify how your policy documents should be.
Okay, take care.
Put your hand on that. Or they don't send it back. But we knew that despite the advancements,
put your phone inside your bag. Put your hand on that. Which one will be more embarrassing when those things fall down?
That because we are the largest technology company in the world, we have it all figured out. And so we asked ourselves a very fundamental question. How can we reimagine our products in such a way that the traditional way people use computing systems can be changed? Today, the way we use any type of system is interface-based. Click a mobile app. It is an interface. It has buttons. It has text boxes, right? That's how you interact with most information systems. You go to a website. You want to book a flight. You have to navigate that place. You want to know anything you want to do. You have to navigate something. And we asked ourselves, can people interact with systems the way they would interact with a person? And that was the basis of the partnership we made with OpenAI. And that is why our generative AI product that we built into every single Microsoft product today do just that. Today I'm doing my MBA. I have a very difficult job. And so I always don't have enough time to read large volumes of case material. What do? I open a Copilot in Microsoft Word. You know Microsoft Word, what use Microsoft Word to type, right? I open a Copilot in Microsoft Word. I point it to whatever study material is given to me in class. I just point it using OneDrive. I'll tell it to summarize this information in these documents for me. Give me key pointers I need to pay attention to. And you can do just that. I've used that same technology to write an entire product brief for a major multinational organization on this continent. I didn't have to do it. It completed the task in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes because I needed to do some adjustments. In our customer engagement technology, we built a co-pilot so that instead of you having to actually speak to a contact center agent. You can have a voice assistant assist you on any set of tasks. It doesn't matter the industry application. It can be a hotel where I need to do a reservation. I need to reserve a flight. I need to do a particular type of banking transaction. I need to order a particular type of meal. I will be speaking with an agent that is actually not the person. But guess what? Because it is digital, it can support millions of people because it is on the cloud. It is intelligent, it's generative, it can interact with you the way a normal person would interact with you. And what that does is that it makes organizations more productive. In investment banking today, we have organizations like the London Stock Exchange who have built an investment advisory co-pilot on that same technology I described, who advise their relationship managers before they go on client meetings. And so if you tell me, for example, I'm going into a meeting with this man's company, it will research the man's company, it will look at their financial performance, it will look at where they are struggling, and it will create a note brief in the chat of the relationship manager so that as he's coming to meet the person, he's coming informed. That kind of person will stay with our organization because they're intuitive, right? That is exactly what we've done at Microsoft. The final message I want to make before I hand over to my compatriots here is this. A lot of us here are at different points in our lives. I work in a large organization. I wasn't always in Microsoft. I worked in Oracle, my former colleagues in the other room there. I worked in quite a lot of these large organizations. But before I started, when I started my career, I worked with small businesses. And when I worked with these small businesses, the biggest challenge was the ability to scale. Because you don't have the kind of resources large organizations have. The cloud today has evened the playing field. Because the exact same type of technology that the Dangote has access to on the cloud, you have access to. Which means that on your own, if you even run a small business, you can build generative AI technologies by yourself to do some simple tasks, either to make your employees more productive, to make your salespeople more efficient in how they generate revenue, or better interact with your customers. The reason the startup ecosystem has blown up today is not because of venture financing. It's because of the economies that come with the cloud, because they don't need to have large infrastructure to build AI. Small companies can build complex applications without having to hire so many people, without having to invest in so much complex infrastructure. And that is the message I'm leaving for you today. In your different organizations, no matter what you do, no matter where you are at any point in your life, whether you are an employee, whether you are about to start a business, whether you are a researcher who is exploring market options, the way we need to think about our progress as a nation, as individuals, as business people, is on how can we leverage the economies of scale that artificial intelligence and cloud technology brings to the doorstep in as little ways as possible. So that together, we are using the best of technology that the global world has available without having to break bank. And that way we can actually deliver a lot of more superior business outcomes, depending on what you are trying to achieve as a person, as an organization. And that is the vision of Microsoft. Our vision is no longer putting a PC in every home in the world. We changed that vision over 8 years ago. Today, our vision of Microsoft is empowering every organization and individual in the world to achieve more. And that is the kind of partnership we encourage you to adopt. Thank you very much for making our time. Are there any questions? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Please.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I have 3 questions. The first one is, okay, first of all, my name is Shama, Webo Shama, and I'm a product designer. Yeah, thank you. So you spoke about good experiences. That's what like differentiates user experience because you direct it to that same person. So I want to ask, the first question is, what's the difference between a company disturbing a user and like the slim line, because I use like I'm learning French right now. I use Duolingo and Bosan. The both of them, they both send me reminders every day. But because I prefer Bosan or Bosom, how do you pronounce it? When they send me a message, I'm very happy. Oh, thank you for reminding me. But Duolingo, when they send it to me, I'm like, these people should leave me alone, Jerry. Is it by force? So like these are although I'm the one that's still using it, but they are sending me the same thing. But what is it that one seems like okay, it's stopping me, or the other one seems like okay, a reminder that I'm happy to get. I don't know if you understand me. Yes, the second one is on this data thing. People are scared because of with AI and when AI works on data. Because of AI collecting data from so many people, some people are scared about what this data can do. So I think I was communicating with one of my friends one time, and we're just discussing something. He browsed it out. I think it's Zenith Tech Fair. So I was like, I'll go to this Zenith Tech Fair 2024 again. And a few days later, he saw a thing popped up on his Twitter. And we're just laughing about it. Okay, how did this thing that we're talking about a few days ago pop up just like that? So some people are scared that okay, my information, what is it going to be used? Now, information can be used for good, information can be used for bad. What is going to be like the bridge between the both of them? I don't know if you understand me. The last one, you spoke about small businesses being able to like blow up because of this thing data. As a product designer, I actually use like ChatGPT a lot for my research and it helps me. But still, there's still a limitation to like some type of like research I want to get, some kind of information, some kind of data I want to get. Okay, for example, probably I'm working for a fintech company and yeah, I'm asking, okay, what is the user experience? What are the things user wants? You just give me a brief. Yeah, but I want to know, okay, where is this coming from? What's the data? Is it that 2,000 people prefer this? 5,000 people prefer this? Like, how can I tap into like deeper data for my research?
I think those are brilliant questions. You asked 3 questions and I'll take them in the same sequence. The first thing is consumers will always have preferences. The preferences vary by brand. The preferences vary by bias. Anything. You cannot solve for that. What you can solve for as a business is the consistency of an experience you deliver. Today, I used to be very loyal to the bank in this country. I used that bank since I was my final, right? I didn't like them. Or I'm not the type of person that would change the banking provider. Until recently, when they had some major outages, and I won't mention the bank, they had some major outages that were making the news that were really upsetting for me. And then one day, my wife went out. I know my wife she went to eat Amala. She won't pay. And I see me as a man, you know, there's a pride that comes with knowing that your spouse never experiences any form of difficulty, and that's a prideful thing. That experience was embarrassing. Midday, I just opened my phone and I opened a new account. Another bank. I completed that process in about 10 minutes. And 10 minutes was the completed verification process that moved me to a tier 3 account. You know the problem is it's not because I liked this new bank over my old bank, it's because this new bank was ready. So that when a market event played out, they were positioned accurately to meet that need. Organizations that take up the market share and are rarely ever the ones who start that market. They are never even the preference. But there's always that event that will happen. That change, and that is the change we encourage businesses to prepare for. That is what makes you resilient. Change. Because it is that change that will make everybody see that you are the one better suited to take us into the future. That's the question one. Question two is an important question on data quality, data compliance, and data governance. I think, unfortunately, the social media companies have violated the trust of many people, consumers like me and you, in terms of how they use data. And that is why we are suspicious of AI technology, because we're not stupid. We know that AI technology has learned information based on what is available on the web, correct? Good question. Any organization that needs to embark on an AI journey needs to first of all build trust. That trust is based on you holding yourself accountable for how you use people's data, how you store people's data, and what you use it for. If you remember earlier today, the lady from, I believe it was Deloitte, the partner, she showed a slide on responsible AI standards. If you looked at that slide, there were some keywords: accountability, accuracy, validity. Do you know why those things are important? If we are going to use AI systems, we need to be sure that these systems are not biased, that these systems do not leak our data. Your data must be your data. You shouldn't be using my own data as a person to be training another organization's model. That's one of the things we did at Microsoft. We made sure that every instance is applicable to just that person or that organization. It's your data. So you cannot use it to train a major model, which is the disadvantage you have to deal with the ChatGPT, because it uses the general model. So any information you put there is on the internet. It will be used to train that overall model. There's no privacy for you. Which leads me to your third question. You are right in the sense that the way the tools are designed, they use internet available data, which means that if you want to do, and I know as a product manager, you design products on the basis of an industry or a consumer or a demographic context. But you see, that context is knowledge that is available to you or a subset of organizations in your circle. They are not available globally, which is why if you go on a general model, it won't give you the depth. It will give you a general response, like you acknowledge. It won't give you the depth. What we did at Microsoft is that we took it a step further. We allow you to integrate your own organization's data sources. So if you are a fintech, for example, or you're a bank, you can integrate your core banking, your transaction banking system, your payment system. You can integrate it into that model so that it is not just using internet data to learn, it is learning about your business. The examples I was giving was when you use generative AI for departmental scenarios, marketing, sales, service. It can be anything else. It can be legal, it can be finance, it can be procurement, it can be HR. But it will build an understanding of your business. If you have market research data available that you've just been collating, it will understand that data. So when you ask it that question, it will give you a contextual response. If today, as a Microsoft employee, I want to build a custom proposition for Zenith Bank today, I will complete this in 3 minutes. You know why? I have volumes of information about Zenith because I support them in Microsoft, right? This information is sitting in different places. It sits on my folder, it sits on my shelf, it's everywhere. But because our co-pilots are integrated across our organization, it will look at all the data available to me within my own control boundary, and it will give me a detailed response up to when I had my last meeting with them and when I should likely have the next meeting with them, even though I've not scheduled that meeting. And that is the intelligence you build into it. And nothing I'm describing here is magic. If not for time, I will show you. So it's not magic or anything. What I'm encouraging is that, again, as we're going into the new wave of our organization, we build these things into how we shape the digital futures of our different organizations. I don't know if we have more time. 3 people have their hands up. You have your hand up. Well, no,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hajra with my My question revolves around you saying something about how you can integrate Copilot into your entire sales and marketing system. So if I do not have the tech know-how on how to do this deployment, how do I go about it? This is that everyone can do.
That's a good question. The Microsoft Copilot technologies were built based on the principle of large language models. Again, we model for